Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to fourth quarter. What is going on? Can't believe this, man. This is I love this time of year, but I also don't like it because basketball season's over, football season, baseball is on, hockey's about to be over. But guys, I'm a big football, basketball fan, so this is love, you know. Uh, This is a love and hate time of year because I love the NBA Finals. But Craig,
Yeah.
let's actually get into it, man. It's funny because, well, before we get to Boston, that series isn't over yet, but uh, I, it's could be over tomorrow. But we basically got two sweeps. I was wrong on one side in the West, and you were incorrect on the East. Not yet, though. It's a percentage. Boston might win, but according to history, it's really really difficult to do. Oh, but anyway, the Lakers got swept by the Nuggets. Um, I'm gonna address this one first because I'm a Lakers fan. This is gonna sound crazy, what I'm about to say, Craig, but just hear me out. Okay, Lakers lost in the Western Conference Finals. I like that, even though I wanted them to win the championship. I'm okay with it. We were the seventh seed. We played good playoff basketball. Uh, and we'll get to LeBron James comments later. I'll let you start off with that. But I think the major things the Lakers should do in the offseason is nothing. D'Lo, I know people are mad at D'Lo. Lakers fans, y'all are angry at D'Angelo Russell. I get it. Everybody is. It was his first time in the Western Conference Finals. I really do. I think we bring everybody back. If not, I would not try to get a third star. Hasn't worked in the past. I don't want to get Kyrie. And then the only way Kyrie comes here is if he's taking a $17 million pay cut. I don't think he does that. I think he signs the max with Dallas. I don't see him. I don't see that happening. I wouldn't. I would re-sign with Dallas. I mean, with Luca, that gives you the best chance to win. They're gonna re-sign some people around you. That's what I would do. I don't think Kyrie's coming, but the D'Angelo Russell thing is he didn't show up against the series, but I think you bring everybody back. Schroeder's probably going to demand more money than we can pay him, but I think we need to add a big man, maybe like Tristan Thompson or JaVale McGee, just or Mo Bamba, just another big presence. Um, Somebody that could take fouls and grab boards. But D'Angelo Russell, I think you re-sign Reeves. They said they're going to re-sign Rui and AD on LeBron. I just if you trade D'Lo, people say for Fred VanVleet, I he's going to want an extension, and that's going to be more than 30 million a year. I think they signed D'Lo at 15 million, $16 million deal, and I think we run it back. We got to the Western Conference Finals with some pieces that we got together after the trade deadline. That's pretty phenomenal. So, I think they blowed up. I was listening to Lakers Nation today. They were like, "Man, Chicago's about to blow it up, so we should trade our pick this year and get Alex Caruso back." I mean, he fits the system that we run it. Like the team that won in the bubble is the team. It's not exactly how the team we have now, but that's how it's structured. And they blew it all up for Westbrook. I don't want to blow it all up for Kyrie because it's doing the same thing. Three stars don't work, man. You got to have depth. You got to have depth. And I feel like with the team we have now, we have depth. So I don't think there should be no major changes done. What about What about you, Craig? What do you think about that?
Um, in terms of the whole series, I got to give Denver credit. The series could have gone either way. It could be 2-2 right now. It could be 3-1. I mean, the game's were decided by average of 6 points. So that's a couple buckets here and there on either side. You see Jokic hit some fadeaway off
Some good
balance
games.
shots.
Yeah.
Same thing with Murray. He hit some off balance shots. Team Reeves hit some off the glass bank shots. It's just shots here and there that could have gone either way.
Good basketball, man.
And the games could have flip flopped. So, if I'm the Lakers, I don't think I would blow it up just because of the impact and how everything worked out. After the trade deadline, the team was one of the best teams in the league. Then you have how they performed in the playoffs, and they had a phenomenal playoff run. I mean, from the play-in game, like the Heat, from the play-in game all the way to the Western Conference Finals. So they beat the defending champs. They beat the upcoming upstart Memphis Grizzlies team, and then they just happened to run into one of the best teams in the league. And you got Jokic on that side. So Jokic is clearly he's one of the best, if not the best player in the league right now, or he's playing the best.
He might be
triple-double throughout the playoffs. So I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due there. Obviously, if you're Anthony Davis, something has to be done there. I mean, there's nobody there. I think Kendrick Perkins said it that in the bubble they had Rondo, and Rondo put the key in Anthony Davis's back, and Anthony Davis is probably the best player in that whole series, or best player in the playoffs, at least for the Lakers.
2020, yeah.
And and there's nobody there on the team this year that's doing that, I guess. So, I mean, I don't know. Some guys might need motivation. Some guys are automatically motivated, like Kobe. Some guys might need extra motivation and extra.
Very hard to find those guys, man. Like Steph, LeBron, it's hard.
So, in terms of the whole team, I don't think I would blow it up. I think we haven't seen a team with 3 stars win since. I mean, it's been recently, but I mean, since 2018 with the Warriors. But I mean, that team was just. It was just. I mean, when you got Kevin Durant and Steph Curry on the same team. You got Klay Thompson. I mean, it's kind of hard to lose.
Draymond.
So, I mean, you had 3 stars definitely on that team. But I don't know if I would just go ahead and blow it up. I think if there was any change that's going to be that I would kind of see happening would be Fred VanVleet, just because he has the same agent. He had the same agency group.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. But he's like you said, he's going to demand a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
The whole Kyrie Irving thing, I could understand. Then again, I could understand them possibly getting another star or getting a guy that can create his own shot, just because of LeBron's going to miss time. Anthony Davis, most likely, he's going to miss time. Anthony Davis, most likely, is going to miss time. So if you have both of those guys out at the same time, you need somebody else who can score. Now, I wouldn't necessarily go with Kyrie, because you don't know what you're going to get with Kyrie on a day in, day out basis, because he's just so fickle. So, I mean, but at the same time, there's really no other stars that I can think of off the top of my head that would make sense. That can probably go out there and carry the team to a couple of wins on the road or whatever it is when you have your 2 stars out for a decent amount of time. But I just think the Fred VanVleet thing makes a little bit more sense than D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell was horrible. Especially on defense. So
if Fred VanVleet takes $20 million a year, I don't know if he's going to do that though.
Probably not, but I mean, I think he had a really good season the last couple of years. So, especially without Kawhi being there, so he's just kind of taken over as far as the team leader, pretty much. It seems like, for the most part, between him and Siakam, I guess. But the team as a whole, I probably would just see what you got coming back next year, just because of what they did, the success that they had, and there's really no need to go out there and add another star player, Kyrie Irving, because you're going to take. We saw what happened with the Suns. You had depth. You add a star player, you trade for a player in Kevin Durant. Now, a lot of teams will probably still do that, but you're losing some depth. And you saw what happened in the playoffs. If you sign Kyrie Irving, you're going to lose some players like Rui and Reeves, possibly, and some other pieces that you could probably have on that team. As great a player as Kyrie Irving is, but I don't really want to go that route. So I would run it back.
Yeah,
I would probably run it back at least for one more season. Just run it back.
one more season, just to see.
One more shot. Yeah, just to see.
Just to see. I would bring everybody back, and you're right. Shout out to Denver. Hey, they are. Jokic is a beast, and I don't understand where people doesn't think he gets his credit because he won the past 2 MVPs and was in the running to get MVP this year. I know the coach is pushing that up. I don't understand that. Like, to me, he's been the best player. Probably the best player in the league, top 3 in the league the past couple of years for me. He just hasn't won in the postseason. That was his knock, and that's what. Listen, everybody gets that work. Everybody, if you're a great center or if you're a great player, they're not gonna be good to you. You're just gonna get that championship. Like we did the same with Giannis. Why he's staying in Milwaukee? He's never gonna win there. They did the same to Shaq. Before Shaq went to LA, Kareem was like, "Yo, why you here? You ain't winning no championships." You know what I'm saying? This is the expectation of some players. You know what I'm saying? LeBron, it's just, it is what it is. Like Joel Embiid, people are going to be like, hey, you got MVP. We need to start seeing this postseason success. That's just how the NBA is, man. It's about championships. That's most major sports are, but like NFL, you get one Super Bowl and have a career like Aaron Rodgers, you'll be like, oh, okay, he has one Super Bowl. Right, but the NBA, if you win multiple MVPs, you're expected to win the championship. That's just how it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out to Jokic, man.
I would contend there that it's different for the NBA just because one player can arguably have so much more of an impact on the team versus any other of the major sports.
Yeah, that's why I was like, NFL is not really based on that. You could be a great player. You know what I'm saying?
The quarterback position is the only one in the NFL that has the rings that disproportionately carry the conversation.
Yeah.
But every other position, it's just how good you are.
How good you are,
Let me say this real quick. Because NBA has an issue, and they've had an issue since probably the 80s.
Yeah.
Which is it's the team, I guess, like the pushing the team concept. NBA is more about the individual stars. NFL, for example, is more about, for the most part, is more about the team.
Yes.
But you can have teams in small markets like Kansas City and Green Bay and Buffalo, and it doesn't matter what. I mean, they're going to get ratings regardless. Doesn't matter who's on the team for the most part. Doesn't matter anything. Versus a team like Denver, who's a small market team, or Milwaukee, who's a small market team. No matter what happens there, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same type of viewership. I mean, granted, it is the NBA versus the NFL, or whatever it is, and you're going to lose that battle every time. But compared to, like, say, the Lakers with LeBron James, people will watch LeBron James and the Lakers versus the Heat, and the ratings would be up here, but the Denver Nuggets versus the Heat will be here. It's not even close.
Which is crazy. It's going to be
NBA
crazy.
would like to have the Lakers against the Celtics. It's just, this year was a really good year because it was so much parity, especially in the West. About 6 or 7 teams that I thought could possibly come out of the West. The top 7 teams for the most part. In the East was only like the top 3, maybe Cleveland or New York or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it was top 3. It was Philly, Milwaukee, Boston. Yeah.
I mean, you still had 10 teams. Years past, it's been like 4 teams or whatever it is. You knew who pretty much was going to make it to the finals. Now we got the Heat who pulled off an upset. Now they're the 8th seed, possibly getting to the finals. Like this year, to me, for parity reasons and for like the unknown, has been really good. It wasn't the same old usual team making it back.
Nobody picked the Denver versus Heat final.
The ratings are because the NBA doesn't push teams; they push stars. And if you're not LeBron James or Steph Curry or Kevin Durant, no matter how big Jokic is, I'm pretty sure the casual sports person that might tune into the game is not gonna know who Jokic is for the most part.
No.
Maybe because he's international, maybe because he's white, maybe because he's a center, maybe because he's not flashy. Whatever it is,
He's not flashy.
they're not going to push him or not push him. They don't. A lot of people might not know him, and that's kind of bad for the league because you want your stars, yeah, but some of these small market teams, man, is just never going to have the power behind it because you just not. I don't know what they can do because it's kind of hard. They kind of pretty much been stuck since Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Then they went to Jordan. Then it was Kobe, and then it was like LeBron. I mean, you have other
somebody did bring that up.
It's just
Gilbert Arenas and JJ Redick brought it up. They were like, so the crazy thing is the NFL arc is different because you got Tom Brady retired, and then you got Aaron Rodgers, but then you got Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of carrying them, right? Which is interesting. Whereas the NBA, I mean, if Steph and LeBron go, man, they're going to be looking for, because think about it. You're right? Magic, Bird. As soon as they're gone, then you got Jordan. Then you got Shaq and Kobe, Lakers, and Tim Duncan that are just like awesome, right? And then you got LeBron and Steph Curry. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Denver Nuggets remind me of the Spurs. Tim Duncan was, he was like that. He didn't care about, rings. He's a quiet guy. That's how Jokic carries it, So we'll see. But I do think it's going to be very interesting going forward, Craig, of how the NBA navigates that. It's going to be very interesting.
I think they're still going to market the stars. That's what's been driving the league for about 40 years now. Versus the NFL, they can push out Houston Texans and it won't even matter. Like the ratings are still
people don't watch it.
As like Chiefs against the Chiefs weren't that good a few years ago. They weren't this good like 10 years ago.
Mm-mm.
The Bills haven't.
And I would still watch a Chiefs game. You got a good point.
It's just they just market. They find a way to market teams and they market it well. They market the whole sport well.
Yeah, they do.
NBA,
NFL does. Yeah,
it just focuses on stars.
Yeah,
which is it's fine. But when you have a finals that doesn't have the stars that you want in the finals, your ratings are going to suck.
Yeah, they are. I'm gonna watch them because I'm a basketball fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna still watch it, but I'm saying it's not going to be the same as Lakers Celtics when you have Heat Nuggets.
But the
NFL for me can have Jacksonville against Green Bay in the
Super
Bowl.
Have Jacksonville against Green Bay and be packed.
Again in the Super Bowl.
Be off the chain.
It's still going to be high.
Yeah. So Craig, so this is the first time LeBron came out, and LeBron's funny. Like, he did give credit to Denver though. He said Denver was the best team they faced this year. And now this is the first time that I heard LeBron ever say something about retirement. I don't think he retires, Craig. But what are your thoughts? Because this is the first time he's kind of like, even mentioned it.
I mean, it's going to happen eventually. You saw this with Tom Brady, Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
You see with all the great players that you're probably going to miss or be like, you just don't see him in the league anymore, and it's just like, man, I didn't really appreciate him when he was here, but now that he's gone, I kind of appreciate him more, and I want to see him play, but he's never going to play again, or he's not playing anymore. So I don't think he's going to retire. I think it was just the heat of the moment. The team just lost. They got swept. Mm-hmm. They just lost back-to-back games at home, and it's like he's getting asked a question about retiring or how does he feel about whatever. I don't know what the question was, but it led to him talking about his retirement. I think he still has the wish or the dream to play with his son in the NBA, even if it's just one more, or even if it's just his rookie season, and then he retires that season. I just think that he looks around at his teammates and how, especially Anthony Davis, and how it didn't work out this year. And he's like, look, man, I gave you 31 in the first half.
Yeah.
18 and
He's 31, dog.
At least, and I played 24 minutes at this point. Can you please help me and carry me to the finish line? And Anthony Davis had 4 points at halftime. He finished with 17 in the second half, which is nice, but he wasn't able to carry the team and take over as the number one option. You can't expect a 38-year-old to play 48 minutes a game or 48 minutes and just play pretty much 40 plus minutes in general in the playoffs.
Crazy,
and
40 plus.
At his age, no matter how great LeBron James is, and he is great, you can't expect him to do that when you're 30-year-old, supposed to be number one option, or your the eighth person or whatever, is not carrying his weight for the most part. I mean, he had 40 points in game one. He had a great game. He's been playing really great defense. He was the best defensive player, I think, in the playoffs.
Yeah,
he led the league. He led the playoffs in blocks and rebounds. So he was doing his job. It's just he came up against Jokic, and Jokic
a beast.
No matter how great of a player Anthony Davis is, Jokic is better.
Yeah, it's not Jokic from 2 years ago. This is a different man.
Yeah, but I just think LeBron James look at this team. He looks at D'Lo and how terrible he played. Some of these other players that came off the bench or whatever it is, but he's just looking at these guys and I'm like, I don't know if I can win with you guys. So I'm kind of talk about it, but I think it was just the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
And it was just coming off a loss. I think once he takes he reflects on everything that happened, seeing how great the team did coming from the playing game in the 7th seed, I think he'll realize, you know what, man, we accomplished a lot for being where we were. We beat the defending champs. Even though we got swept, we only lost by an average of 6 points. Even with
right there
like that, even with Anthony Davis playing like that. So why not just try to?
If D'Lo scores 17 points, they win the series.
You can just try to run it back. I mean, I think he's gonna. I think yes.
If D'Lo scores 17 points, they win the series. That's
LeBron
crazy.
James strikes me as the type of person I think that will rather have that would not want to go out getting swept to be his last game.
Nah.
And also, I think he would like to have a farewell tour.
Yeah,
kind of like what Kobe did.
Yeah.
So I don't think LeBron James is done. He played too well to be done. He had 40 points. Oldest player to score 40 points, 31 at halftime. We're just gassed. I mean, you can't.
He's tired, man.
So I think he'll be back.
Yeah, you said it all. I think my man's coming back. I think he's gonna. If we bring back everybody and add a piece or two, we're gonna. I think we'll definitely be contending in the West next year. So I think he knows that. I think it was the heat of the moment, but this right here lets me know that it'll be soon. It'll be in the next year or two that he's out. Because when players start talking like that, like, man, listen, I'm tired, guys. And this is the first year he might have surgery. He's never had surgery in his career before, which is, I mean, that's a feat of his own. But he's never had surgery. He probably feels a certain way about it. So he's like, you know what? I don't know. I'm tired. But I think you're right. Once he steps back, looks at it, he's going to be like, all right, let's go. And then this is his last – it's a contract year. I think this is his last year signed up. So, by the time Bronny's drafted, he'll be able to sign it. If Bronny wants to play with him, Bronny might not want to play with him. You know what I'm saying? It's up to his decision. He might want to play against him. Like, Dad, I don't need you on the team, man. Or he might say, yeah, but, we're gonna get to that. Now, Craig, Celtics. They won. They're 7.5 point favorites. I think that they're I watched a lot of basketball, guys. So I'm just going to be honest. I think it's a gentleman's sweep. Boston doesn't play good at home. I can see Jimmy sending them home. But, I just don't see him winning. I'm assuming you probably feel the same way. Are you think they're going to win 3 games against the Heat?
Maybe 4 in a row. That's never happened before. 0-150. So the odds are definitely against them. But if the Celtics are the number 2 seed. They had the second best record in the NBA, so they were the favorites coming into this series, and that's why they're like 9 or what do you say 7, 8, 9 point favorites?
7.5.
Yeah, they're like that's why there's because I mean they're the favorites to win this series, or at least they were. And I think the percentage went up from game 4 to now where it is game 5, and then winning the series is almost 50%, or it might be over 50%. I can't remember what I saw today, but I mean, like just because they won one game on paper, they're the better team. But when you play on the court, they're not the better. I mean, they haven't been the better team. It's just I don't know what's wrong with the Celtics team. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's the stars can't get along. I'm not sure what it is. They're not great at home. You said it. They're 4-5 at home. Like, I don't know.
Which is crazy.
I mean, that's crazy to me. There's no way you can be 4-5 at home in the playoffs.
No.
But every series is a home game.
No.
This series. So
you need that. You need that in the playoffs. You need home court.
The only thing I'll say, I guess, is that we've seen a Boston team come back before with the Yankees and the Red Sox. But it's a different sport, obviously, but the Red Sox came back down 0-3, won the series, and even on to win the World Series. This is another Boston team. It might be there. It's just never happened before. But we also, like a few years ago, I never seen a 16-1, and that's a one-off versus a series, but I never seen it. And now 16-1, I think, this year or last year. I think it was this year.
This year.
So I mean, it could happen. We've seen it in hockey 4 times. 03 comeback. So it's possible, man. It's just I'm not gonna say it's not possible. I will see what happens after tomorrow night's game. If they win tomorrow night, which I think they will because they're at home. Well, don't
say that. Don't say that.
Win because they're at home. They just came off a big emotional game. They're riding a little bit of momentum, whatever you want to call it. They're going back home where they've struggled, but they're at home. They got the fans behind them. If they can get that game, then that puts a lot of the pressure back on Miami because Miami does not want to lose that game. They have to go back to a game 7 where they beat them twice. But you don't want to do game 7 on the road, or you don't want to have the game 7 in general, especially when you have a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
But this kind of reminds me of the Bulls when they were up 3-0 against the Sonics. Then they lost 2 in a row, but then they won game 6.
They won game 6,
well, I think Miami, if they don't win tomorrow, then I think they clinch it on Saturday.
Yeah. In Miami.
But I do expect them to win tomorrow just because I guess Boston just haven't proven enough to me. Like Jimmy Butler. Tatum finally scored in the fourth quarter.
His fourth quarter stats
He go 2 games without scoring in the fourth quarter. He didn't play in game 3.
Stats are ridiculous.
There's no way your best player should never score in the fourth quarter.
Nah.
Then again, like this whole series, once again, Boston, I think, had double-digit leads in games 1 and 2 in the second half. Miami has come back like 6 times down double figures in the second half to win the game. So
let me ask you this. You just mentioned this. Tatum and Brown, Celtics bring them back?
If they get through this series, then yeah. If they can get to the finals,
they go.
I think I think somebody's got to go. I don't know if it's necessary the coach. They've had 3 coaches in 3 years. I don't know if you want to do that one again.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna fire Joe Mazulla. I don't think they are.
I think you got to get rid of Brown or Tatum. It just hasn't worked. I mean, it's gotten to the finals, but I mean, when you go down 3-0, and if you happen to lose 3-1 or 4-1 or even 4-2,
yeah,
like somebody's not pulling their weight, man. I know some people
trade Brown. Who'd you trade Brown to?
Some people are saying trade Tatum. I've heard that. I heard that from the actual Boston. I've heard it from the actual Boston radio station. Or no, maybe not Boston radio station. It was Golden State radio station.
If Brown, that's what I'm saying. Golden State's going to be active. They're going to be active.
But the people that were on the Golden State station said, yeah, let's go ahead and I would trade Tatum and build around Brown. I don't agree with that, but
I would trade Brown and build around Tatum.
That's what I would do, but I mean, I'm not sure what's going on. I think they're going to keep both of them.
Yep. I think Brad Stevens is a loyal guy, man.
I mean,
he handpicked Mazulla. I think he's gonna keep them all. I think he's gonna. I mean, the money that their extensions are crazy. By the way, their extensions are crazy. Brown can sign a 5-year, $295 million, and Tatum can sign a 6-year, $314 million. That's crazy.
You've had big success.
That's crazy.
You've been to the Eastern Conference Finals multiple times. You could have won last year in the finals, but it just hasn't worked out. I just think eventually somebody, and I don't know if Tatum and Brown even get along like that.
I think they do.
I've been hearing different stuff. I've been hearing different stuff. They get along. I'm hearing they don't get along. It's like I don't know what to believe at this point. But when I see them on the court together, it's just sometimes it just doesn't look like it's working out. I see Tatum taking like 70 shots and Brown gets like 10. And it's just like an imbalance there when you supposedly have two stars. I know Tatum to me is the better player.
Yeah.
But sometimes Brown just doesn't look like he's lost. And then Tatum doesn't want to take shots before. I don't know.
That's crazy. What's up, Mo? That's going to be interesting to watch, Craig.
But if you look at the East,
be interesting to watch.
If you look at the East, James Harden's probably not going to be there next year.
No, she's asking for a 4-year, $200 million contract.
The Knicks might reload. I've been hearing the Knicks trading RJ Barrett and Julius Randle.
To who? I don't know. This offseason is going to be crazy.
Man, I can't remember who I saw him getting traded to, but I heard him possibly trading those two, or at least that was put out there.
I think Phoenix is going to trade Ayton. They already talking about that.
It's just so much that can happen.
The only one I haven't heard of trading is the Lakers. I haven't heard anything.
If they don't trade Brown or find something for Brown, they could be clearly the favorites going back next year. Even with Milwaukee still there, and I don't even like Philly, man. They can't even get out of the second round. So they're not a threat.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That's an interesting, man. I don't know, man. Tatum and Brown, that's like $600 million into two players. That's a lot of money.
You can get somebody back for him, somebody decent.
I think you could for Brown or Tatum. I think you can get somebody good back for Brown. He would be like if he goes to Portland with Dame. You know, he could go. I mean, he can go a lot of places. I wouldn't want him in the Lakers. He's just going to cost too much money.
Oh, that's what it was. Somebody said Julius Randle and RJ Barrett for Anthony Davis. That's what I heard. Colin Cowherd said that. I knew somebody said that.
Colin Cowherd is great. He's been trying to trade Anthony Davis for 2 years, man. He's been trying to trade Anthony Davis for 2 years. Colin Cowherd also was like, he would trade Jordan Poole for Jaylen Brown.
I would do that.
That's actually, it kind of makes sense for both teams, right? Jordan Poole gets a new he gets a new destination and he's already paid. He shoots a lot. I think that him and Draymond situation was weird. So I think that if he goes out there and then Brown fits perfect with Golden State where, they got good leadership and good culture. He fits right in with that wing that can shoot. I mean, if that happens, Golden State is just reloaded. Yeah, but it's going to be very interesting because I think Poole is definitely going to get traded. I think it's going to be a lot of movement this year, like it always is in the NBA. But Mo, we're gonna start off with this one. Do you think the Celtics keep Joe Mazulla?
Man, it's tough. I don't think so. Especially if they lose in 5. I don't think so. If they do, let me say it like this: if they do, I don't see the combination of him, Brown, and Tatum staying next year. So if it's not him, I think Brown definitely be shot, but they won't keep that team intact if they lose. Even if let's just say they force a game 6 or game 7 and lose, I just still think if they don't reach the NBA Finals, I don't see them keeping this team intact. because it's too much. Now I don't agree, but I think he cooked himself with coming on there and saying I didn't have this team prepared. You can't. Boston ain't trying to hear that. Out of all sports franchises, basketball wise, Boston fans is not trying to hear I didn't have this team prepared. Like, you come on in and just say I gotta do a better job. I didn't have this team prepared. But for me, honestly, we talking about grown men making millions of dollars. As a coach, Charles Barkley and Shaq even said it. Phil Jackson and Pat Riley ain't never had to get us hyped. They tapped us on the shoulder and said, "Let's go," and we was ready. Like all
That's
that.
Charles Barkley and Shaq, though.
I get it, but it's still
great
grown men
Hall of
making
Fame
millions of dollars.
players.
We gotta do a rah-rah speech to get grown men who making millions of dollars to play ball.
Sometimes you do. Everybody's not different. Everybody's different, Mo. We were just talking about that. That motivation to be great is measured differently. That's why it's so few great players like Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, Steph. That's why Giannis. That's why it's few.
Well, if
some people need motivation.
I get it. So if that's the generation we're raising, I don't think. Yeah, I think if we're talking about this the generation we're raising, and Boston is the town they are, I just don't see Dude keeping his job then. Because for you to come out and say I got to get this team ready, we talking about Eastern Conference Finals, trying to make the finals again for a 6th straight year, and you coming on the podium saying I didn't have this team ready to play after he was already down 2-0. Like, yeah, I don't see him coming back.
I respect it though. You know, that's what a head coach is supposed to do. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think Brad Stevens picked him. Brad Stevens handpicked him. He came into a weird situation where there was like he didn't even get to like a training camp or anything. It was kind of like Udoka's gone, he's here. So, you know, I think he's a young coach and he got out coached. That's what happens. But I'm big on continuity. Now, listen, I don't know about the Brown and Tatum. The money is crazy, but I will bring Joe Mazulla back though. I would. That's just me, man. Like I think the players, you know, I think they said some stuff like we weren't prepared, but that's on him. He came out and said it. You gotta respect somebody that takes accountability in that position. So I think they have to keep him. I think so. I think so. But once again, it's a lot of championship coaches out there. So, you know, they might get Monty Williams, but I don't know. I don't see Brad Stevens going like that. Craig, what you think? You think Mazulla is there?
I just don't think they're going to get another coach. Huh?
Do you think they're going to get another
coach? Just because I think – no, I don't. Just because they've had 3 coaches in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
like that's like the Houston Texans or something like that. Like, they're not the Houston Texans, they're the Boston. Like, they got 17 championships. There's no reason for you to have. I understand the Brad Stevens thing, and then you had the Udoka thing, and then this whole off the court stuff that was going on, which I think they should have been handled behind closed doors a little bit more. But Mazulla got the team to the conference finals. Now, granted, they are down 3-1, probably going to lose this series, but like I just don't think you get rid of him just because of. You've had 3 coaches in the last 3 years, and I think you're trying to build on something. At least give him one more year.
Yeah.
See what happens next year. See what happens with Brown and Tatum. If you make any moves in the offseason, you bring somebody in or you trade for Brown, whatever it is, figure something out with that. Look at the landscape with the whole Eastern Conference, and you'll probably be up there again with Milwaukee. And, I mean, Philly, if they lose Harden, they're pretty much done unless they get somebody else to replace him. Cleveland and New York, they're on the come up. Miami's obviously still there. They're going to be there again.
They'll get somebody.
I mean, they should still be a top 2, top 3 seed in the league. It's just I don't know if you want to just go ahead and change coaches when you really don't have to at this point.
Yeah,
all them years to get the team where they needed to be. Like I said, now you just give Joe Mazulla his chance to at least get the team right.
Yeah, that's what I agree with, man. I don't think they can do it.
Not right now.
But we're gonna save this last question because next week we got to get a verified who's in the finals. There is still a percentage Boston could be in, so we got to wait on this. We do. It's fair. I thought that he was going to win. That's why I inserted the question. I was like, who wins the NBA Finals and why? But now we have to wait on that one. That's just fair and that's just respectful for both teams. You know what I'm saying? Like you just, Boston is still competing. Huh?
So wait, they have some class.
Yeah, man. Boston's still competing, man. Like you gotta give them a shot. Even though it's a low percentage, things happen in sports, man. So I can't discount anybody until it's, finally till both teams get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Corey, we actually Jim Brown passed away. Unfortunately, man. A lot of people passed away, man. I just heard Tina Turner passed away today, man. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So Corey, what are your thoughts on Jim Brown?
I think he's a fairly well liked and respected individual that has a very complicated record. Obviously with his playing days, he's one of, if not the greatest running back in NFL history. If he doesn't retire early to go into acting, who knows when his career rushing record would have been broken. I think the conversation is between Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, and Walter Payton for greatest of all time when it comes to that position. There's an argument that can be made for one of those three guys, but I think they're the only ones even in the conversation. Jim Brown was also important when it comes to the civil rights movement and pushing for that stuff back in the 60s. So, there's all of these good things that he stands out for, but there's also the complicated past of him having a history of domestic abuse, which is one of those things that, you can't necessarily just sweep under the rug. But I think it's just another example that, people need to be able to have nuanced conversations about individuals and stuff like this, because Brown was very important in his time on multiple levels, but none of it should be ignored or discounted because of how good an athlete he was or how important he was culturally or anything like that. So, it's unfortunate. He's even with LeBron, he might still be the greatest athlete in Cleveland history. And he has a legacy that should stand the test of time.
Yeah. Craig, what do you think about Jim Brown, man?
It's he was a great football player, obviously, one of the greatest. Corey pretty much said everything. He was unstoppable on the field, he was just a beast. I think he wanted to leave, obviously to go into acting, but also I think he wanted to leave when he was on top versus trying to leave when you're past your prime, and then you're getting wheelchaired out or whatever it is, or you're not the same player as you once were a few years before. So, did my computer freeze?
No, we're here.
Okay. I got no internet, man. Okay, so he was a great football player, obviously. I saw some of his movies when I was younger. I can't really remember.
He was in a lot of movies, man. I'm looking at the list now.
Yeah, he was in a good amount of movies, so I appreciate that. I appreciate him stepping away from something that he was really good at to try something else and to venture out there. You know what? I did football. I had enough of it. Now I'm going to move on to something else, and just a different challenge, a different opportunity for him to go through. Obviously, the civil rights, everything he did with civil rights. I saw a picture that people were posting around, obviously, after he passed away, with him and Muhammad Ali and Kareem, and how iconic I guess that picture was. But I mean, he was just he was a phenomenal person. Obviously, he had his issues like a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I just think he deserves his flowers like a lot of great people, or a lot of great sports athletes, or a lot of great activists, or whatever you want to call them. So it's a sad day. It's the same thing that happened last year when we lost Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but you got to just remember the person and what they did and who they were. They're good things and they're bad things, and just move forward and just try to remember what they did.
Yeah, man. Listen, I love Jim Brown. I know he had a listen. I tell people all the time. Listen, there is always good and bad with everybody. It is what it is. That's just the name of the game, guys. That's what humans are. It happens. But I do like the way that man he did so much for the community and the civil rights movement. Man, he he did a lot. Like you talk about live a life, man. He lived a life. He's not only is considered one of the best football players of all time. He left early, and he started acting. I'm looking at these movies. I forgot. Oh man, he was in uh The Running Man. I forgot he was Fireball in that. That's an old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, guys. I'm showing my age, but you know, then Craig, I know you remember him in Any Given Sunday. He was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
He was the defensive coordinator, cussing out Lawrence Taylor. I don't think a
Yeah.
lot of people could do that.
Oh, yes, it did. Yeah, Sharp. Yeah, one said it was named Sharp. Yes,
Yeah. So Corey pretty summed it up. He had some rough, he had some rough assault allegations against him, man. And that's never a good thing. But also he did some great he did some great civil rights stuff, man. Um, he refused to enter the draft with the Vietnam War. Um, he stood with Ali. That was a big thing. Ali gets a lot of credit for doing that. That was huge, man. Um, he just this is bomb, man. I think that was a really big thing. And he's done a lot. So it is what it is, man. And yeah, I can't believe that. That's funny. Now I was just reading that the FBI monitored him. I mean, like that's a surprise. Anyway, so this is just it's just interesting, man. So I think he's one of he's always gonna go down as one of the best people to live, man, and that's what life is about, you know. Mo, what's your thoughts on Jim Brown?
man, and just a great human being. I mean, I know he had his past, his dark clouds. We all have, our stuff we're not proud of that we've done in life. But overall, his body of work speaks for itself. One of the best running backs of all time. I remember just watching that movie they did on him. I think it was
Oh,
called
I'm about to
Express.
say I'm about to say you've watched him play. You are
No. I was talking about the movie they did on him called Express.
yeah, okay,
Right? What's called
yeah,
Express
yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. Just one of the greatest running backs of all time. Definitely top five, if not the greatest. Definitely got to say top three, top five of all time. And I hope and I know the NFL is probably gonna do something for him to last the season. Of course, the Browns gonna do something definitely, but I really hope the NFL does something special for him that lasts the whole season because he definitely led a mark on the NFL. On the same equal playing field as any others in their sport. So
Yeah, I mean,
I definitely hope.
I could
I
see.
definitely hope. I definitely hope Roger Goodell gives him, the flowers and definitely, mandate something across the league to remember him. If not the whole season, definitely opening day or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, they're going to. They might have the patches. You know how they do that. Everybody wears the patches for the whole season. They probably do something like that, like what they did with Bill Russell. They'll probably do it with the NFL.
Yeah,
I'm
patch or
assuming
a helmet sticker.
a helmet sticker. Yeah, and he'll
Yeah,
definitely acknowledge it.
I would be surprised if Cleveland didn't like paint something on the field itself for him this year.
Yeah. He's definitely. They're gonna do something. This is very interesting, guys. At first, we were going to talk about the positions, and that's we're going to start off with the quarterbacks. That's a little later, but these rule changes have been getting a lot of conversation. It's a lot of conversation with these 3 rule changes. So I was like, you know what? Let's talk about this, and I'm gonna start off with actually the first one because this is somebody was like, they were like, the owners are they meeting every week? Because I just feel like they just had an owners meeting. I feel like they just had an owners meeting, and they I think they have to have another one with the sale because so they'll probably have another one, maybe another 2 before the season ends up. But I'm gonna start out with you, Mo. So this first rule, this has been generating a lot of buzz. And yes, Corey, I did listen to the Pat McAfee show. He went off on it. I did subscribe and listen to him. He makes really good sense. I like people that make sense. I listen to Gilbert Arenas, even though Gilbert Arenas is crazy. Sometimes he makes sense. He does. You gotta listen to him, especially about basketball. He'll bring it down. So Mo, the first rule the NFL said is it specifies that the fair catch on a free kick, which is a safety or a kickoff, must occur behind the team's 25-yard line in order for the ball to be placed at the 25. This is a 1 year only.
I thought it was a fair catch.
It's for 1 year. So they're gonna do what it is. If the ball gets kicked off, is at the 10-yard line, he fair catches it, it goes to the 25. I think they do that in college. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, from what I'm hearing already, I heard a lot of the special teams coaches, even though of course they have no say over it, nothing to do but to coach it up. A lot of special team coaches don't like it at all. Like I've heard a lot of special team coaches don't like it whatsoever. Like they really are like, man, why? From what I'm hearing is a lot of reasons behind it was that with the squib kicks, with a lot of the kickoffs, with a lot of stuff, the concussion rate doubled this season. It was double the normal this season. So now they're trying to do something to show, to show that they care.
They don't want another lawsuit. That's what it boils down. Okay.
Right. So basically they're trying to do something before they have to go to more, before they feel like they have to go to more, extra measurables. Like maybe like something what the XFL does or any other extreme measures. So I feel like this is their last resort of what they can try. Because I can't really think of something else they can try right now off the top of my head. But like you said, they're trying everything they can to avoid lawsuits. They're trying to they're trying to do what they can to try to save their tails. So they feel like this is something new. It's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be real interesting to see how this is gonna work. I'm glad it's a 1 year trial. Let's see how it works, and then, but I don't necessarily like it. I think the game is what it. I don't want to say the game is what it is, but things are going to happen in this game, and like for you to totally change it like this, it's just let's see. I mean, but like I said, if it lowers the concussion rate, they're going to keep it. They're not going to put it back.
Corey, what's your thoughts on this rule?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the talk, Pat being upset, and I saw the part where they said that special teams coaches did present evidence to kind of refute anything the NFL was saying as to why it was necessary. But to me, it was a matter of time. College has been doing it. It's a staple. It's a thing there now. Not really surprised that the NFL adopted an identical policy. I know that some teams had been trying to play the field position game. Beville Ventrone, Indianapolis was one where they would try to, kind of get kickoffs to land at the 1 or 2 yard line, forcing a return to try to pin them at the 20 or behind to save a little bit of field position. That's kind of gone now. We'll see if special teams coaches or kickoff guy or something is able to master a more squib kick that gets that ball on the ground where they can't fair catch it and play field position game that way, or if we just get to the point where kickoffs just stop happening for the most part. I know it's an exciting play when it gets broken open, and it's fun. It can be fun to watch, but it's kind of almost the point where either just let the play happen or get rid of it altogether, put the ball to 25 and have the other team take possession. I saw a comment from Colts linebacker Isaiah Franklin, and his argument is like, at some point we essentially have to acknowledge that football is just a violent sport.
Yep.
There's got to be injuries. There's going to be concussions. You can't legislate it out altogether. So either you go 7-on-7 or you just have to, at a certain point, understand that it's going to happen, which is fair. But I think the NFL is also trying to get ahead of the PR curve because you have, parents freaking out about concussions and not wanting their kids to play football. And that's how the sport dies, is if you have a whole generation of kids that aren't playing and, right now it's fine. But 15 years from now, you start seeing a dip in quality because parents are just afraid to let their kids play the sport.
Yeah, because they get hurt. Craig, what do you think? Do you think it's, college has been doing it for a while?
I don't know, man. Like, I like seeing kickoff returns when they get returned. But, I mean, the NFL has been changing the special teams rules, especially on kickoffs, for the last, I don't know how many years it seems like. So they've already changed it before, and now they're changing it to this. So, like Corey said, it's only a matter of time before they actually change it to what it is now, or at least they're going to try to. And like Mo said, if they have less concussions, I mean, I guess that will not guess, but that is a win for the NFL, and I can see them just adopting it going forward after this trial run or after this trial year thing that they're doing. I don't know what the XFL does, but I know they're supposed to be trying stuff, or they should be trying stuff in the XFL.
I think they do something similar to it. I just looked it up. I think XFL does it similar to it. I think they do the 30-yard line.
They're like the guinea pigs, I guess, for the NFL, and they get to try stuff or get to see what's going on there, see how it can actually work with the NFL. So if they're already doing it and the college is doing it, I don't see that big of an issue for it, but I do like to see the occasional kickoff return, especially when it can, if you're down, whatever it is, and you can change the game, and all of a sudden now you went from down 4 to now you got the lead because you keep returning the kickoff. It's just an exciting play, like Corey said, but there's risks involved, and there's risks involved in football in general. I guess it's just more so with kickoff returns. So, and I was just about to say, like before Corey said it, but I guess I can see it when they just get rid of the whole kickoff altogether.
Yeah, man, it seems like it.
Slowly but surely getting to that, we're going to just get rid of the kickoffs and just bring the ball out to the 25, and then you just go from there. I don't really see. I'm not going to say I don't really see a benefit, but I mean, it's just the NFL just has too many issues, and like you said, they're doing they want to try to avoid this lawsuit, or potential lawsuit. So, and then you got, like you guys pretty much mentioned everything, like the kids coming up, they want to. You don't know if parents are right now already trying to stop some of their kids from playing football. There's concussion Pee Wee League or whatever, Pop Warner and all that stuff.
Former NFL players be like, I'll let my kids play.
Yeah, so you don't want your kid to be having to deal with that, or even when they get older, you don't want to have them deal with any of that. So, granted, it's just one play, or it's just a few plays throughout the game, and it's a possible fluke thing that could happen, but it could happen in football just in general. But I don't know, man. It's just some of the rules, man. It's just slowly but surely changing the game of football that we grew up on, and it's to me it remains to be seen if it's for the better or for the worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, give me a couple years on this one to see exactly what's going to happen. I think I've seen a stat that the percentage of kickoff, the rate will drop like 7 or 8%.
Yeah.
So probably not going to see guys like Devin Hester or Deion Sanders returning kicks anymore or anything like that. So for the most part, so I don't know, man. It's just a weird time we're in football, man. But it was inevitable.
Yeah. I agree with everybody on here. It's interesting because I had to list it because it's generating a lot of buzz. Andy Reid came out and said he didn't like it. And listening to Pat McAfee, he's a punter, and he had Pac-Man Jones on there. He's special teams. A lot of players, become starters by playing on special teams. A ton of players. I hope they don't get rid of it because then that's just, people will be fighting for their jobs. Shannon Sharp said he started on a special teams. So yeah, man, I started as a gunner. I just think it's pretty vital to the NFL landscape. I just wish they can fix it. But here's the thing: it's about player safety, but is it? We'll get to that coming up. We'll get to that. We'll get to that on the third rule we'll discuss because that's what I do. They talk a good game, but we'll they're leaning in like two different directions. But we'll get to that. But I think they're going to avoid the lawsuit. I hope they don't take kickoffs. But I understand the safety of the game. So if this works this year, they'll probably just implement it, and I think it probably is. If they look at the data and say, "Hey, we have less concussions, we'll just keep it like this." College has been doing it, And Pat McAfee was like, "Oh, college does it." They're like, "Yeah, college has been doing it for a while." So, I could probably seeing this not changing. But Corey, let me start off with you. Now, listen, we all witnessed this, guys. Now, I might be in the minority, but I agree with this rule. But I don't want to see another Philadelphia San Francisco game like that. Now, the third rule says this. Let me start with you, Corey. The third rule is the third quarterback rule should prevent a similar scenario. Okay, it comes with two important stipulations. First, the quarterback must be on the team's 53-man roster, which means the club can't designate a practice squad player as an emergency quarterback. Second, the emergency quarterback can only enter the game if the other two quarterbacks are both injured or ejected. Now that's, I'll wait till it gets to me because I think that's a problem that some people have. But if people don't understand this, guys, if you watched the NFC Championship game last year, it was a disaster because San Francisco was out of all the quarterbacks. Corey, what do you think about that?
I think this rule does virtually nothing. Because this rule wouldn't have changed anything in that title game.
Nope.
Because teams don't carry three quarterbacks. Teams aren't going to carry three quarterbacks because you added a 17th game, and that arguably made that third quarterback roster spot even more important to go to another position to help account for injuries because you didn't add or expand to the rosters when you added an extra game to the season. So the smart way to do it should have just been you can dress your practice squad quarterback and they can come into the game in an emergency. And
yeah, that's it.
You'll have it that's both injured or ejected, fine. I think the rule used to be, and I think that what would have worked just fine is if your emergency quarterback goes into the game, your first two can't re-enter.
Yeah.
So make it a true stipulation and something that it's, you can't, not there for a snap or something.
Yeah. If I get hurt, Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, he exits the game. and you go to your emergency quarterback, he can't take a snap and Patrick Mahomes comes back out.
Yeah.
He can't do that.
So, like, the whole point of the rule is to avoid that NFC title game snafu, where you have second most important game of the season, and it's garbage and borderline unwatchable because you don't have a quarterback that's capable of taking snaps on the field. Just let them dress the practice squad quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see what the problem with it is. It solves the problem.
Just do it.
Yeah, because teams aren't like, maybe come playoff time, teams would start putting a quarterback on their 53-man roster just in case, but probably not. So this rule effectively does nothing, and I don't get the point of it.
Yeah, and to your point, San Francisco is one of those teams that had 3 quarterbacks to start the season on the roster. They had Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Brock Purdy. They didn't bring Brock Purdy up as a practice player. He was the third.
Yeah, but he's a guy, though, that because teams will do that. The Colts did it with Sam Ehlinger 2 years ago, I think, where they make the 53-man cut down to week 1, and then week like 3 or 4, they cut them and shift them to the practice squad. Because at that point, if a team claims at the 53-man cut down, then it's a pickup. But if you claim a guy once the season starts, you have to keep them on your active roster for at least 3 weeks, I believe. So it changes the incentives a little bit on claiming guys. So teams with guys that they really like but know they won't contribute will keep them on the roster. And I think that could have happened to Purdy if the injuries didn't happen.
Got it. Cool. Craig, what do you think about the third QB rule?
It's not a bad rule. It's just like it's such a rare occurrence. Like you're probably never gonna. I ain't gonna say never, but it was so rare to have both of your quarterbacks go down. I think they should have done this back when Denver had no quarterback. It would have kind of they had wide receivers playing quarterback.
How long ago was that?
That was COVID year, I think, or the year after.
Yeah, Joe's like, this is ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. I mean, granted that this was a more important game, and it was a nationally televised game and all that, and everybody was watching it, and you had the 2 best teams in the NFC go at it, but it's unfortunate what happens to the quarterback. Yeah. So I could understand it, but I don't know if you're gonna see this again. It's just rare to happen. I do think that they just should have just given either give the teams an extra quarterback spot or just expanded to 54 instead of 53 and just had that 54 be your quarterback. I mean, you could it doesn't make any sense to penalize every team out there by having them use up a spot for a third string quarterback that for the most part is probably not going to play. It's just weird. I don't understand. I mean, they have so many other issues that they could talk about to me and rules that they could change or implement or just have common sense and be like, we're just going to give everybody a third string quarterback if you want it. Cool. It solves everything. It just, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, I just don't understand the point of it. It's just a weird situation here. But like I said, I just don't know when this is going to probably come up again. I think if teams were down, if their mainstream quarterback is out, then obviously, yeah. But I mean, at that point, are you going to go out and get another quarterback? A third quarterback? Or you're going to keep the 2. Your number one's down. You have 2 and 3. Are you going to have 2, 3, and 4 now? Your second, third, and fourth option? Like it would just solve everything by just giving every team a quarterback. Move on and then just see what happens. So maybe, hopefully, they'll. It seemed like common sense would have kicked in already, but clearly not. So maybe next year they'll figure it out or whatever. So they keep changing stuff or keep adding stuff. But this is dumb.
Yeah, this is the only thing I don't like is the second emergency can only enter the game when the other two quarterbacks are both injured or ejected. It's like, well, that's almost the
That's the only
same.
time they're gonna.
That's the
That's the
same
only time they
scenario
ever
we
come
happened
in.
last year. Yeah, so what's the like? That's why I was like, yo,
Probably the emergency quarterback.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like I don't agree with that because then if Patrick Mahomes has to sit a series or Joe Burrow, you telling me now they can't come back and enter the game? That's not cool. That's the only. I just don't like that second stipulation. To me, it's just like why have it. And I think the reason they did that is because teams were using that extra roster spot for a player. Like, oh, I need an O lineman, he'll be my emergency quarterback. But they'll find a loophole like they always do. And then maybe the NFL will correct it. This is the first time. This isn't the first time because they used to do it and then they got rid of it. Um, I didn't even know this, but they used to do this and then they got rid of it. And they got rid of it for a reason because teams were like, we're only carrying two quarterbacks, but we need a defensive lineman or a linebacker or a corner. So if you give us an extra roster spot, we're gonna go with what we need. and then they got rid of the rule. So I mean we'll see. But I just it's just weird. I think they could have maybe thought a little bit more into this. And maybe we'll see it change, but it's it's weird that they had it before, got rid of it, and then that second stipulation is, you know, they enter the game and it's like they're the quarterback for the rest of the game. That's anything could happen, man. You know what I'm saying? Mo, what do you think about that? The third quarterback rule.
I mean, it's dumb. I mean, I get it because it's San Francisco game. It was a meaningful game. It looks bad, but was the game really that close to where we felt like, with it would have changed the outcome of the game? I mean, I just don't think it would have. But I mean, I get they want to. It's almost like how with the Buffalo, with the Buffalo Kansas City thing. You see something, enough people complain about it. Now you feel like you want to do something to try to appease people. Like I get it. But like I think Corey said it, I don't think we're going to get to it. Like the only way you get to it is if your backup is dinged up enough where you're like, all right, he can suit up, but I don't know if he will hold up. If our quarterback get hurt, then I'll do a third quarterback. So unless both your quarterbacks are dinged up and you're like, okay, they're dinged up enough, but they're going to go, but we want to be safe than sorry. That's the only way I could see somebody dressing three quarterbacks. Outside of that, you're only going to dress two. You know what I'm saying? If I see you automatically dress a third quarterback, I'm guessing you got to announce it early in the week if you're going to have that third emergency quarterback. Then you got to cut somebody. So you want to dispose your hand early, and that's going to let me know as a D coordinator, head coach on the opposing team, your two quarterbacks are hurt, or they hurt enough where you're going to have a third emergency quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be, you got to let that known. You got to let that be known early. So it's definitely going to be, an eye opener. I get it. I mean, I'd be interested to see how many teams use it this year. Like, what's going to be percentage of teams and situations where it's going to be used this year?
I'd be interested. I would like to see that. Okay. Craig, as I mentioned earlier, the safety, right? They want safety. With the first rule, the NFL citing player safety. But they also said their flex scheduling of Thursday night football games. And these are games weeks 13 through 17. A 4-week notice is required, and only 2 Thursday night games can be flexed per year. What do you think about this rule change?
I wasn't big on them flexing games anyway. As far as Thursday night games, I get you can have to give like a basically a 4-week notice, but I mean, I just don't understand it. Just keep the games where they are. I just don't understand the point of it. Just doesn't make any sense. You already took out every team from getting a Thursday night game, and now you're gonna have it more so where now, granted, we could get, I don't know, a 3-8 team against, or a 3-9 team against a 4-10 team or whatever. I don't know. You get some game like that, but at least every team had back then. Every team had an opportunity to be on Thursday night, whether the matchup, and usually Thursday night games weren't that good anyway. But it's football; it's the only thing pretty much is on. You're gonna watch it, whether you stay for the whole game or you just cut out after a certain period, whatever. It's football, so you're gonna watch it. But now, I mean, you got teams not even playing on Thursday nights, or teams not even getting a primetime game in general, and now you're gonna just flex in game. I don't personally. I don't know. I don't really think they're gonna flex these games. Like you got the Cowboys, they're not flexing the Cowboys in week 13.
Nope.
The Steelers in week 14, I don't think they're gonna flex that one.
Steelers and Patriots, nah.
They could flex the Chargers and the Raiders game because
that could be flexed.
Then the Saints Rams, and then the last game is the Jets Browns. I don't think they're gonna flex that game. So I can see 2 games possibly, but I just don't understand the point of it.
Those would be the 2, Craig.
What happens if you give a 4-week notice? You're going to flex the game. Then by the time you get to the game, your star quarterback's out, or your team has lost 4 games in a row now, and they go from 7 and I don't know what 9 and 5. Now they're I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. I see what you said. Yeah, you schedule it, and they're 4.
You just lose 4 games in a row all the time.
Yeah. They're 8-4, and now they're 8-8. Yeah, I got
you. Right. They now suddenly they don't look as good as they used to, or whatever the case may be. And now you're just now you already said you're going to flex it out. Now are your hands tied at that point? Can you change and say, no, we're not going to do that? Like, what happens then? I just don't understand it. It's just like they're just trying to do too much to me. They're already owning everything. Why do you got to keep trying to reinvent stuff or trying to change certain stuff that doesn't need to be changed? This is something that doesn't need to be changed. I didn't think that taking every team off of prime time, giving them at least 1 game, needed to be changed. And here you go with this. I don't know, man. I don't understand what they're trying to do. I get what they're trying to do because
you get what they're trying to do.
Their teams on Monday nights or whatever, and your terrible matchup on Thursday nights, but just let it go, man. You shouldn't have scheduled some of these games in the beginning. Like ahead of time, some like the Bears. The Bears don't need to be on prime time that much. Like, come on. You didn't even give the Colts. The Colts just drafted the 4th best quarterback, or the 4th best quarterback. They got the 4th pick, and they had a rookie quarterback. Why would you put them?
I would like to see him on prime time.
The Bears. Now I get the Bears are trying to retool and everything. And they're Chicago. They got a big market, but and then you put the same game we saw last year back on there this year. Bears and Commanders. I'm just confused, man.
I'm happy. We got 1.
Huh?
We got 2 games. I'm happy. I didn't think we were gonna get any.
You got people making all this money to do the schedule, and they can't get that right. So why would you trust them to flex the game? I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's dumb.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is they say they're about player safety, right? But this is not safe for the players, man. It's not. I was listening to a good point today on a podcast, 3 and Out, and he made this point. Number 1, Roger Goodell has a number that he wants the NFL to reach. Number 2, man, streaming is the thing right now. And, some fans – listen, as fans, sometimes we complain about the games, and now they're going to the competition is now going to push some owners to be competitive, because we got to be honest, some owners just are bad. Some owners don't want to win. We got to put that on the table. Like, that's a real thing. Owners get their money and then they go. You know what I'm saying? That's it. They don't fix the stadiums. That's neither here nor there. So TV money is huge. Well, that is here and there. TV money is huge, man. And the NFL is trying to capitalize on it. So therefore, they're not worried about the in-game experience from the fans who go to the games. They're worried about how can we get this TV money and the streaming money. that's exactly what they're worried about, and it sucks for the players. It sucks for the people that we talked about this last week. People are buying tickets to go to a national game, and then it gets moved 4 weeks out. You got to change your hotel. Listen. Thursday night games. I don't know about y'all. I mean, I might go to the Commanders, Bears, but if I go to that game, hey man, it's my team, man.
Yeah.
If I go to that game, I'm not going into work because the Thursday night games aren't. They're not. It's late, man. You're getting back very late. So a guy, he said that, like, you got to worry about the hotel. Flights are already crazy, and then they give you a voucher if they give you that. We don't know at that point, right? So I think so it's very interesting. This won 24 out of 8 won. 24 of the owners. We know Davis didn't vote for it. He said that it sucks for the fan. People spend a lot of money to come out there to see football. It's not cheap, man. The food's not cheap. The drinks isn't cheap. The seats aren't cheap. The experience is lovely, but like you pay for these games, man. And then Mara, the Giants owner, said it too. He was like, "Yo, it's a disservice that we're doing to fans for in-game experience." But that's it. Mo, what do you think about the flexing of the Thursday night games?
It's gonna be a catch-22. I feel like people are gonna complain regardless, because if you gotta do it 4 weeks out, if you do it and then you flex and the game is bad, or a team, like Craig said, a team going to run, or a quarterback get hurt, or something happens, people are like, well, why you flex it? If you do, they're gonna be like, well, if you do, they're gonna be like, why you flex it? If you didn't, and then the game is bad, or quarterbacks get hurt, people gonna be like, why didn't you flex it? So I feel like regardless, people are gonna complain. Like whether you flex it or you don't flex it, people are gonna complain. So it's going to be now to throw it out there, you lead yourself to these type of scrutiny. Now saying that you can have the chance to flex games, Thursday games and stuff like that. Now people are gonna look at you like, oh, okay, well, why you flex that game? Why didn't you flex it? Especially if you got to do it 4 weeks out. Like you basically making an assumption. So if you're doing 4 weeks out, you basically making an assumption that I think this game is gonna be better 4 weeks out now than this game. So I'm gonna replace it. Or I don't think it's gonna be better, so we're gonna leave it alone.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. It's just gonna lead to a lot of scrutiny. Because you can get these analysts like like Damian Woody, or somebody gonna come on there, or any others, they're gonna be like, well, why you didn't flex it? Why did you do it? So I just think you should have left it alone. I think you should have just leave your schedule the way you're gonna leave it. Once you make the decision, stay there. Like you said, though, I'm glad we just got 2 primetime games. I ain't think we're gonna get none. I ain't lying. I thought we weren't gonna get none, and I definitely was surprised by the Thanksgiving Day game. I was like, Lord have mercy, they put us on Thanksgiving. I said, oh, okay. I said it must be because of the enemy there. Maybe they think we're gonna be a little better offensively. I don't know, because I sure was like, wow, how we get that?
Corey, what do you think?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, James. It is a clear as any sign that the owners do not care about the game day experience. They don't care about game day revenue. It is all about the TV contracts. Because I do think that because the biggest talking point has been player safety. I think it's overblown. I don't think there's any impact to player safety, because with it being, it's not like they're coming in on Monday and it's like, hey, instead of Sunday, you're playing Thursday now. It's a month ahead of time, you would know you're playing on a Thursday instead of a Sunday or something, which means, by the time that week comes up, it would be no different than if you were originally scheduled on that Thursday for the players, at least. I do think logistically it's a nightmare for both teams and fans, because now do teams need to potentially reserve hotel rooms for Thursdays and like Sundays just in case they get moved? Because what if an area has something going on at like a convention center or something, or there's a big event and the hotels are booked, and it's a logistical nightmare on that end for the teams, and for the fans. Like if I'm say driving to, or 2 years ago when we flew out to Denver to go see the Broncos Ravens game, if they would have shifted that from Sunday to Thursday, we'd have been screwed.
Terrible.
Like we couldn't adjust our work schedule, our flights, our lodging, all of that stuff to account for the game happening 3 days early.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
So it is a giant middle finger to the fans. Now, I did see a report, I think it was from Ian Rappaport, essentially saying that the NFL won't actually implement this unless they absolutely have to. Which I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't
like.
What does that mean?
What would make you have to implement that? So I guess it's there in their back pocket in case like a 1-12 team is scheduled to be in prime time or something, but just leave the games there. I said the yearly game that we seem to get, what was it, Titans, Jaguars, or Jaguars, Texans, and essentially the Jaguars and another AFC South opponent that were both bad on a Thursday night, and people still watch it at a higher clip than like NBA playoff games. Just leave it alone. All you're doing is screwing over fans that have to try to adjust to go to the game, or they're potentially out hundreds of dollars for no reason and can't go, because that happens one time. And you're going to see a wave of people just say, "I'm never going to an NFL."
No, I'm not going to the game. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not.
And when tickets cost like $70 to $150, if I get screwed out of that game,
I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm never going to plan to go to a game again after that.
No, why? Because it's like I'm out. Just like the example that you used for the Ravens in Denver. You would question it, like, damn, it got moved to Thursday. We planned this out because right now, my friends like James, you come to the game, they're already starting to plan it out which games we're going to now.
Yep.
So if people plan this out when the schedule comes out.
Yeah. And
then they go to the games, and then it's like, because if I get screwed and the game is and I'm out on money, there's no point in me going to a nice primetime NFL game because I've got it would stick for me for a while. I agree with, not only are they screwing people, like sometimes people move all the time, right? Craig, Corey, you guys are here. Sometimes it's good to just see your team. You not just see the Baltimore Commanders or the Steelers or the Patriots. Like I want to see Indianapolis game, or I want to see a Panthers game, and you get to see that when everybody gets a Thursday night game. You get to see it. So it's just and right now it's about the league is about money. So. I get what they're saying, but it's just their actions are speaking louder than their words at this point.
Yeah,
it's like, and all those teams that are, here's the dynamic shift. Those teams, like I'm gonna say it out there, like Arizona, they're gonna start losing a lot of money because the NFL's like, we're not putting you on TV. And they're gonna lose revenue. So I guess the goal is to win, but like everybody should get a chance to go to experience an NFL game.
I mean, you gotta at this point you can't. If you want to go to a game, I would try to go weeks 1 through 12.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do. You have to go early.
17, maybe week 18 too, but weeks 13 through 17.
Don't do it.
You don't know. You just have no clue, especially looking out in advance. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Don't do it, because I was looking at the NFL schedule, Craig, and I believe, right? So they said 13. I I don't see the Cowboys and Seahawks. I don't see the Patriots and Steelers. But I definitely see it could be the Broncos and Lions could be in that spot a week 15. The Vikings and Bengals, the Steelers
Are they
and Colts.
flexing
They got a lot
anything?
of
They flexing.
yeah, they got I don't know. They got a lot of to be determines on the actual list. I don't know what that means.
It's
It means those can
they
be
do
flexed,
have
right?
well, it's they do have the TBD for around the holidays. And
Okay.
like once the college season ends, you could have a game that's either a Saturday or or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And so the NFL waits into the season a little bit and then makes the decision on where they're placing games in that weekend.
Mm-hmm. So it could be. I mean, it could be some games that are flexed into that. I can see that. I can see week 15 getting flexed. So, guys, if you're going to a Raiders Chargers game, it's going to probably get flexed out. I don't think
I
the
want to
Raiders
say though
are going to be good.
that
I don't think the
decision
Raiders
gets
going to be
made.
good.
I want to say that decision gets made fairly early though, like weeks 4,
It'll probably
5, 6,
get
somewhere in there. That you find out that those end of season games when they're getting scheduled,
okay.
and it's still within the weekend though, because
Yeah.
there's a huge difference between like figuring out a little later if the game's going to be on Saturday or on Sunday versus
Thursday.
a game set for Sunday getting shifted up to Thursday.
Yeah. Because right now I don't know, man. It looked like it could be some, Jets and Dolphins. It just looked like this Raiders and Chargers game might be the first one that gets flexed out because I don't see the Raiders being good. I don't. And then the Rams and Saints. That's possibly they might put the Lions and Vikings there. They might put the Packers and Panthers. It depends where they at. It's some potential. It's some potential games. Pittsburgh and Steelers. Like it's for the week 16. Oh, I'm sorry, Pittsburgh and Steelers, Bengals and Steelers. That could get flexed in there. But yeah, this is gonna be very interesting. Oh no, they probably don't do that. No, yeah, they could do that. It's on it's gonna be interesting to see. We're gonna see, man. I just know it's not cool for the fans, and they got a lot of votes for that too. A lot of votes. 24-8 is a lot. I didn't think it was gonna pass because people were complaining about it.
They already got lines. What? They already got lines for week 17. Like, how do you have a line already?
They got a line already?
Vegas got lines for every game. How do you have lines?
Duh, that's crazy.
And the season ain't even like I don't know.
That's
Man.
crazy.
But it's just weird. I don't think I've ever. I guess you can bet on game. You can bet on stuff now, but
that's crazy. All right, Mo. I'm gonna start off with you with this one. Easy, right? What are your top 5 NFC quarterbacks? Start with the NFC first.
NFC.
This is gonna be interesting. Yeah, NFC.
All right. No particular order. No particular order right now.
I'm doing mine in order.
All right. Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jalen Hurts. Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Top 5 NFC.
This is muddy waters.
I got some teams. My bad. It's muddy waters right now. Oh, that mercy. Jalen Hurts, keep on. No more Dallas. Keep on NFC South. Nah, I'm good. NFC North. Bad. Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Dak Prescott.
Okay.
West. Matt Stafford.
Okay.
What I got? 2 more.
One more.
Derek Carr.
All right. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. Matt Stafford. Okay. All right. Corey, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in NFC?
All right, so I'll go 5-1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
although 1 I think is obvious. So
Yeah.
5 I put Kyler.
Oh,
I think when healthy, he is a top
Okay.
5 quarterback in the conference.
okay.
4 I got Derek Carr.
Okay.
3 I have Kirk Cousins.
All right.
2 I have Dak Prescott.
Okay. Yeah.
I debated between 2 and 3 between
Yeah.
Dak and Cousins right now, and
Yeah.
honestly, I trust Dak more than I do Kirk.
Yep.
And then number 1, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I just looking at the NFC, it was hard to figure out anybody that I would put above him right now the way he's playing.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can follow up last
Let's
season.
see.
Just as strong. But as of today, he's the best quarterback in the NFC.
They got a tough schedule. It's gonna be interesting.
Hey, side note, side note, I'm going off of body of work. If Gino put it together another year like he did last year, I would put him in top 5. But right now for 1 year, I couldn't do it. I was thinking about it. I was like, I couldn't do it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. That's totally understandable. Craig.
Top
Top 5 NFC.
So 5, I was. If we're just talking about just, I guess, talent, I'm putting Kyler at 5. But if he's hurt and that comes into consideration, then I'm putting Derek Carr at 5.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm sticking with Kyler. So 4, I got Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
3, I got Dak Prescott. Yeah.
Go ahead and say it. I know you're gonna say it.
I got Stafford. I think when Stafford's healthy.
Okay.
Last year was a horrible year. He was hurt, whatever. But if he gets healthy and he's playing like the year before where he had 41 touchdowns, that's Stafford that obviously is a top 2, top 3 to me in the NFC. And 1 is obviously Jalen Hurts. I do expect Stafford to have a better year. He had 8 interceptions with 10 touchdowns last year. I expect him to be healthier, I would hope, and have a better year than he had last year. So
my list is very interesting, guys. It's probably gonna be a little wild. Enjoy the ride.
I mean, you throwing Jared Goff on here or something?
No,
yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
I am, man. I am. This is wild. If we're going on health, all right. So if we're going on health, Jared Goff is not my top 5. It's Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford, but they both were hurt, so I'm going off of. This is my list. I'm going Derek Carr, number 5, in New Orleans.
number 5, huh? The 4 fingers.
Number 5. Yep. Boom. Number 4. Going Jared Goff, man. I think he has a chance to build. It's not crazy. Like, I mean, him and Derek Carr are like you can say Derek Carr or you can say Matthew Stafford. I'm just going off of people that played last year healthy. I got Jared Goff. We'll see. And then I got number 3. I got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, man. If he was on my Commanders, it'd be a playoff team. He is what it is. He needs help. He's a solid quarterback, and he's gonna get paid like one. That's it. You can't not pay him. He's gonna go, and he stays healthy. He's available, so he's gonna continue to get paid. Second, I got Dak. Now, when Corey said Dak, Dak has a more higher ceiling than Kirk Cousins, and he plays good in primetime games. Hopefully, he can play better. He led the league in receptions, and he missed 5 games. Hopefully, that can change. But he's second, and then first, I got my man Jalen Hurts, who I wasn't the only one, but I did knock on him early in his career, and he's proved me wrong and a lot of people. So, and I think he is going to back it up this year. I know they got a hard schedule, but I think they'll be back in the mix. All right. Corey, this is probably going to be a little bit more easier.
There were definitely more options to choose from.
Who's your top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC?
I'm curious to see 2 through 5 for everyone. I'd be surprised if Mahomes isn't one for everyone.
I mean, it hurts.
All right, so at number 5, I have Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
I think he will probably still be number 1 in the NFC. Were he there? But
he would be. Yeah, he'd be number 1 in the NFC, hands down.
I put him at 5 just because, as of today, I would take these other 4 guys ahead of him right now.
Okay.
In their primes, Aaron Rodgers, I'm possibly only taking Mahomes over prime Rodgers, but yeah, right now,
that's fair.
I got him at 5. Number 4, Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Just he's dynamic, changes the game. I think he'll come back healthy and motivated. I'm excited to see him this year.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Number 3, got Josh Allen.
Okay. All right.
He took a big step in his development as a passer. He's got to get a little more consistent, cut down some of the bad interceptions, but he's face of the Bills and has, as long as he's there, they will be relevant.
Yeah.
So obviously number 2 got Joe Burrow.
Probably everybody's number 2.
He's so good. It's he makes yes, he has an insanely good receiving core to throw the ball to, but just between the beating he took his first 2 years in the league, still bounced back, and just his precision, his swagger, everything that he means for that team. I think he's today the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Then obviously Patrick Mahomes is number 1 because he's well on his way to putting his mark on NFL history.
Yeah. I mean, it's he's Mahomes.
Yeah, like that Super Bowl that he lost to Tampa was one of the most impressive performances I've seen from a quarterback.
Yeah, he's a beast. All right, Craig, your top 5 AFC quarterbacks.
5. My bad. 5. I got Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
I think it was tough between Lamar and Justin Herbert. So, but I went with Lamar because I think he's more dynamic. So I have to see in terms of him running the ball, he's definitely more dynamic. He needs to get back to that Lamar Jackson, the the MVP Lamar Jackson. Then I think he'll move up. He could possibly move up in my list. But we'll see what happens this year. He has more talent around him with wide receivers, so there really should be no excuses why he can't put up numbers. Number 4, I got Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is still a beast. I think he still can be a beast. I think him doing OTAs this year, trying to get on the same page with his new team, with his new wide receivers, some of them familiar faces, but I think it's a good look. They're going to have a tough schedule, but he's still Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. I think he's going to put up numbers with this new team. And I mean, I can't really say much else about him. He had a down year last year. I understand that, but I think he's ready to bounce back this year and make a deep run. Because technically the team was only a quarterback away, which was the Broncos, and they had Hackett, and the Jets have Hackett. You know what? Never mind. Well, we're still sticking with Rodgers for 3. I got Josh Allen. Josh Allen's good. He tries to do too much. But if he can get that under control and stop trying to take over the games and just be Superman out there, I think the team will be a lot better off. But can't knock his talent. Number 2 is Joe Burrow.
Mhm.
Goes without saying. I mean, I think he is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now. I think it's a gap between Mahomes, Burrow, and then it's like Allen.
Yes. Yep. I agree.
You saw what happened with Burrow last year. What he did against. He went head to head against Allen and destroyed him for the most part. And he has great wide receivers, the best wide receiver group in the league. But I mean, he's amazing. He's an amazing talent. And obviously, number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Chance to go back to Super Bowl again. He did it last year without any big time wide receivers, just Travis Kelce. He has the same thing going for him again this year. There's no big name wide receivers. I'm not going to bet against him. So he's a beast. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So my top 5
Another
are a little different, man. Actually, you know what? This show is about who I think is the top 5 quarterbacks right now. And it's a young man that I really like. And he might have a breakout year this year. And his name just popped up, and I didn't have him on the list. But sometimes you just gotta shake things up in life, especially with sports. And I could be wrong, and that's okay. This is way early. This is the perfect time to say crazy stuff in sports, like trading Anthony Davis to New York Knicks for R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. You can say stuff like this time of year because people listen and people don't. Because then you could always be like, you know what? I was wrong. It was a way too early predictions. Training camp's coming up. But this is what I'm going to say. Number 5. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence, man. I think he's going to have a breakout year, dog. I think he's going to have a breakout year. I love Aaron Rodgers, though. So it's so the AFC is so tough, right? I do think the Jets are going to go to the playoffs. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a bounce back year. I just think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a better year. And then Justin Herbert is getting lost off the list. I don't know if he's on anybody's list, but we'll see. Maybe he can have a good year. But I'm going Trevor Lawrence, man. You gotta shake things up, man. Gotta make it exciting. This is what life is about. This is what predictions are about, baby. Number 4, got my man Lamar Jackson. Hey, listen, he already came to OTAs. He says he likes the offense by Todd Monken. If Lamar Jackson plays 17 games, they're winning 11. He's a beast. Their defense is back. He's paid. He's happy. Receivers are happy. Baltimore is going to be balling out, and they're going to be a threat. That's Lamar Jackson. Number 3, Josh Allen, man. Listen, Josh Allen might make his mistakes, but I think all of our teams will like him because he's a good kid, keeps his nose clean, face of the franchise, and he wins a lot of games. Josh Allen wins a lot, man. And he came from Wyoming, and he's playing with another chip on his shoulder. I think in that draft class, if it was a redo in that draft class, he would be drafted first, and Lamar would probably be drafted 3rd. Instead, he was drafted 10th, and Lamar was drafted 31st. But if you redo that draft, they're the 2 first quarterbacks coming off the board, 1 and 2. Because that's a draft with, I believe, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. So, I think Josh Rosen was in that class too. So, he's exceeded expectations. He's a great quarterback. Number 2, Joe Burrow. I mean, this is easy, man. I think he's going to end up taking the route of Mahomes, where I know he wants T. Higgins. He'll have T. Higgins now, but it's just going to get to a point. It's going to be him and Chase, just like it's Mahomes and Kelsey. That's just how it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he's so good to the point that he makes other people around him better. And I like T. Higgins, but if they don't have T. Higgins, he's still gonna do. They're still gonna be who they are. I think that's a great compliment. And then you got Patrick Mahomes, who he just came out and said it's not about the money, it's about legacy. So we're probably going to see him in a lot of Super Bowls, like Brady. His competitiveness and drive is insane. We haven't really seen that. Well, I guess we've seen it with Tom Brady, but like before I let Mo go, so Carson Palmer came out and said Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. But he said this. He said this before the championship game, before the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. He's like, "Listen, guys, if the Bengals beat the Chiefs and the Bengals win the Super Bowl, it's a conversation." But he was like, "Patrick Mahomes played the best football I've seen in my life on one leg for 2 games." And they were the biggest games. They weren't just week 1 and 2. They were the championship game and the Super Bowl. So he was like, Patrick Mahomes untouchable, which he is. Mo, who's your top 5 AFC quarterbacks?
This was tough. I would definitely have put Herbert in there if Rodgers didn't come to the AFC. So I'm going to go Rodgers, number 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson, number 4.
Okay.
I think he's going to have a great year. Not 6,000 yards. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Josh Allen, number 3. I love Josh Allen. Like, I just think, but that playoff game last year kind of brought it down for me. I'm gonna go Burrow, and I'm gonna go Burrow strictly on. Yes, he has the weapons, but I think, like you said, James or Craig said it. The beating he took the beating he took from that offensive line, even with the weapons the last couple of years, and he's still out there throwing like he's throwing. Is just he earned my respect because he's been brutalized. So I'm gonna go Burrow number 2, and I'm gonna go, of course, Mahomes number 1. I've said this several times, I think on here or out loud talking to friends. I thought he'd be good when he was drafted out of Texas Tech, but I didn't think he'd be this. By no means. I don't think anybody can jump out here. I think it's few people that could jump out there and say they would think it would be this when you saw him coming out of college. Like, it's just crazy. Like, what he does, how he makes everybody around him better. You got to look at it like this past Super Bowl, I think might be it is going to be his greatest one. I mean, he got more greatness to do, but right now I still say this Super Bowl right here is the one he's going to hang his hat on, because it was people that thought he wasn't going to win his own division. Nevertheless, win the division, number 1 seed, go to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. So, for him to do that with receivers that barely nobody can name. I mean, you got Travis Kelce, but his receivers, like, what? They even brought in Darius Toney out of New York. What? Midway through the season, and then he still was hurt, and they integrated him into the Super Bowl. Like, it was just crazy. Like, it's crazy what they can do. It's crazy how he makes everybody around him better. He finds ways to get him the ball. And I think he definitely has a couple more Super Bowls to
win. Damn, that's real, yo. That's real. Mahomes is just. Talking about once in a generational, bruh. Like, I don't know. One more thing before we get off. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony. He has retired. I did want to ask this question. I just want to hear everybody's thoughts, and then we're out of here. This is something very interesting. Carmelo Anthony retired. I love it. I don't think he's gonna get a farewell tour. But let me ask you this: does his jersey get retired for any team?
Who you talking about? Say that again.
Carmelo Anthony. Does his jersey get retired? Because Jokic has 15, so it's not going to get retired in Denver.
It'd be the Knicks before. Would it be the Knicks? Would it be the who you drafted by? It might be the Nuggets. The Nuggets might do it, but then with Jokic doing what he's doing, he might not do it. I would say the Knicks, but I would think it would be the Nuggets before it be the Knicks. That's my opinion, but
not with Jokic with the same number, bro.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Though that's the messed up part. So,
Craig, what do you think? You think anybody? I don't think so.
Maybe the Knicks, just because it's New York, but he didn't really have a lot of playoff success when he was with the Knicks. So I don't really know what you could. You could just retire him because he was mellow and he was good. He's a great scorer, or he was a great scorer. But I don't know, man. Like, at least like guys like Patrick, he got to the finals. Didn't win, but he got there, and he got there as an eighth seed, and he got there.
Well, that would be in Denver. Then that means in Denver he would have to retire his jersey because he got to the West Finals.
He talked. Oh, you talking about more success in Denver?
Because of Jokic, they might not do it though. But because of Jokic, they might not retire that jersey. But I'm saying he had more playoff success in Denver to where he made a West Conference final where it makes more sense to retire his jersey in Denver, but they might not do it because of Jokic.
You can't have two of the same number getting retired?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
If you look at his numbers you could argue that his numbers were better. Maybe not. At least in the beginning, they were kind of comparable to his numbers in Denver, but I don't know if his number gets retired. He had a great career. I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Either Denver or New York. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know because so I was listening to this on Gilbert Arena podcast. Here's the thing though. It's like, okay, Charles Barkley had his, but that's Charles Barkley though.
Charles Barkley also got to the finals.
He got to the finals. Yep. And his numbers retired, right? Of course, Will Chamberlain. I'm just going over people. Clyde Drexler. He had his Trailblazers in Portland, but I think that's all he played for was two teams, though.
But he also went to the finals.
He also went to the finals and won back-to-back with the Rockets. And he went to the finals as the Trailblazers. You're right. And it gets hard because nowadays players play on more teams. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be different. Like Julius Erving had his numbers retired. Once again, he won a championship. Bob Lanier, that's
Bob Lanier's old.
Bob Lanier's old. He won some division titles though. Moses Malone, championship. Earl Monroe with the Knicks and the Wizards. He got to the conference finals.
So you're naming people. Melo got to the conference finals in Denver. They lost
Denver. He lost to the Lakers and Kobe.
Right. That was the
problem. But see, Earl Monroe won a championship in '73.
I think
was Iverson J.R. Smith on that squad, or just J.R. Smith? Was
Iverson and J.R. Smith.
Oh, I don't think Iverson was on that team that went to the conference finals with Denver.
He was.
Yeah, lost the Lakers. Yeah, Iverson was.
Yeah, Iverson told a story that Kenyon Martin was on that team too. Kenyon Martin was talking trash to Kobe. Oh, yeah. And he said Kobe went off in the second round and got 41 points. And he was like, man, they shook the Mamba. He said Iverson said, because they call Iverson Chuck, his close friends. He was like, Chuck, man, they shook the tree and the Mamba came out. He was like, leave that man Kobe alone. Man. But like they said, it's kind of hard because players don't really players play for so many teams. Yeah, Kenyon Martin played for the Nuggets 2004 to 2011. Mm-hmm.
No, Allen Iverson went on that team. He had left that year after that season before, because they went to 2008, 2009. They went to the conference finals. Allen Iverson was on that team in 2007, 2008.
It must have been 2008 then.
Yeah, but Allen Iverson went on that team they went to the conference finals though. I didn't think he was.
Yeah, so
they went to the
which team?
conference finals in 2009, and Allen Iverson was on that team. He was back.
Well, I know JR. At least JR Keon was on it.
JR Smith, Kenyon Martin was on it. Yeah.
Yeah, JR.
I mean, he was on it, but he got traded to Detroit that same season or whatever happened with him in Detroit.
Oh, trade that now. Trade that out. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I wonder why he made that. Okay, so they got to conference finals in 2009.
Yeah.
Yep, and then he got traded to the Pistons. So I
Was
wonder
that
why he
I wonder why he told that story. Miami? I mean, not Miami. The Magic or Boston?
2009 Magic.
Okay, yeah.
I wonder why he told that story. Maybe he was just talking about a regular game. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I don't know. Like the Sixers might retire Allen Iverson joint, but I don't know if Carmelo gets it retired. I think he's been in too many places, guys.
They've already retired Allen Iverson jersey, didn't they?
Oh, well, see, yeah, man.
What, Philly or Denver? They retired in Denver?
No, Philly, man.
Oh, I'm about to say he retired in Denver.
Philly had his jersey already retired. I could have sworn they had it on. Yeah, it got retired.
Yep, it did.
Last year. Or maybe not last year. It got retired though.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have sworn I saw it on TV.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it would be Philly. But like he played, like Mo, he played like 10 years in Philly though.
He also went to
that was his like best years.
Oh, who Iverson?
Yeah.
Of course. No, I know. I always say. So I always say this. In this argument, I'll say, I always compare his squad and LeBron's squad to who was the worst squad ever to make NBA Finals.
LeBron's.
Like I get
LeBron
it.
was way worse. He had Mutombo on his squad.
But Mutombo was old. Mutombo was
still Mutombo, man.
That's fair.
But yeah. So he but yeah, I don't know. New York might do it because they New York loves Carmelo, but he played in a lot of places, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe played for one career, you know what I'm saying, with the one team. For instance, which team is going to retire LeBron's jersey? Cleveland?
Cleveland.
It would have to be Cleveland. It would definitely have to be Cleveland.
Well, the Heat?
The Heat probably
definitely have to be Cleveland. I mean, yeah, but I think because
if he get another chip in LA, he's probably getting that joint to retire.
The Heat retired Michael Jordan's number. He never even played for the team.
Yeah. So they probably retire LeBron 6, but LeBron's different than Carmelo.
Yeah.
So it's just I think it's going to be hard for players to, you know, nowadays. Like same with Chris Paul. I love Chris Paul. Maybe New Orleans, but he's not getting his jersey retired in the Rockets, not OKC, not
Phoenix.
Yeah, he hasn't played there long enough.
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying? That's a serious thing when you get your jersey retired. It's like, you know, Kobe got it retired. He had 2 Hall of Fame careers. He scored 16,000 points and won 16,000 points another. But, you know, we're talking about splitting hairs here. The only greats are probably going to get their jerseys retired. But it's just Carmelo Anthony is a great. I just think he spent too much time, too many different teams. But I hope he does. Hope he does get it. So anyway, guys, next week we probably talk about the finals, and some more position lineups. So yeah. So all right, guys, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.